Hi, I'm Joseph Hoffman, and in this series of 3 video lessons, I'll guide you through learning to play March in D major from one of my favorite collections, the Anna Magdalena Bach Notebook. It was composed by a young Carl Philipp Emanuel Bach, who was one of the 20 children of Johann Sebastian Bach. Now, you might have noticed that the title of this lesson is March in D B section, and so you might be worried that something's out of order, but relax. This is completely on purpose. As we get to more advanced repertoire, sometimes I will begin with the most challenging section, and in this case, that's the B section. It's a practice technique that I use all the time, since that way you maximize the amount of time you have to get comfortable with the most challenging part first, and then adding in the other sections feels like a breeze. First off, let's hear a full performance of March in D major. To start learning March in D major, you'll want to have your own copy of the sheet music. If you're a premium member, you can get it for free from the Hoffman Academy website using the link below. Otherwise, you can purchase it from the Hoffman Academy store. Pause if you need any time to get your sheet music ready. Otherwise, let's jump in. Before we learn any new piece, we should take a little bit of time to prepare and study the score. I'd like to challenge you now to pause the video and on your own answer the following questions about the score. Number 1, what is the tempo? Number 2, what key is this piece in? Number 3, what is the time signature? And 4, what else do you notice about the piece? Pause the video now to answer those questions on your own by analyzing your sheet music, then press play when you're ready to continue. All right, let's go through and answer the questions together. Number 1, what is the tempo? Your answer for that is always right here in your sheet music, allegretto, which means medium fast. Number 2, what key is this piece in? How do we figure that out? We look at our key signature. 2 sharps tells us we're either in the key of D major or B minor. So from there, we also look at the first or last note of the piece, or we could look at the title of the piece and see, aha. Bach gives it to us. We're in March in D major. Number 3, what is the time signature? That is always placed right next to our key signature. And don't forget, this symbol means cut time, which is equal to 2/2. It's an abbreviation for 2/2 time, and 2/2 simply means 2 half-note beats per measure. And then finally, what else do you notice about the piece? There's no right or wrong answer to this question. You might have noticed some of the rhythms. You might have noticed we have a trill. Perhaps you noticed the staccato dots in the left hand. So many things to notice. Now, as I mentioned, today we're starting with the B section. So let's scroll down and check out the rhythms of the B section. Our B section begins right here at this pickup to measure 10. Notice here's measure 10, but we also have this pickup note leading into measure 10. That's the beginning of our B section. Now, when you're learning a piece in cut time, I recommend that you use this little trick. It turns out that you can pretend you're in 4/4 time when you're learning a piece in cut time. The reason for that is 4 quarter notes equals 2 half notes. So by pretending you're in 4/4, it makes the rhythms easier to learn, and then eventually we'll shift back to thinking in 2/2. So for example, if we're pretending we're in 4/4, we'd have beat 1, 2, 3, and then this we could write a 4 and then this pickup note or beat we would call beat 4. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and. Now, I'd like you to pause the video and write in all of the counts up through the end of this page. Stop at the end of measure 14. And again, pretend that you're in 4/4 time. We know we're not in 4/4 time, but we're doing this to easily learn these rhythms. Pause to write in the counts like I've done here, and then press play, and we'll check it out together. Here are the counts through measure 14. If this is what you wrote in, great job. Let's practice by tapping the rhythm of the right-hand part while we count the beat out loud. I'm going to count 3 beats to get us ready, and then we'll start on beat 4. Tap and count out loud with me. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. Great job. You can always pause if you need more practice with that. Otherwise, one more thing I'd like to do before we learn to play it is to prepare yourselves by looking for all of the F's and C's. Remember, F and C in this song is sharp to C sharp and F sharp automatically from our key signature. So you might want to go through and you can either circle all the F's and C's, or some people prefer to go ahead and just write in the sharp symbol. You'll see this G is also sharp. That's an accidental, which is placed right in the music. But then a lot of these are automatic. We've got a C here, which you'll need to sharp. Again, you can either circle them or write in the sharp symbols. Pause if you'd like some time to do that. Otherwise, let's go on and take a look at the end of the B section. All right, let's analyze measures 21 and 22, the last 2 bars of the piece. All right, I've drawn a box around these 2 groups of notes. I'd like you to pause the video and analyze what these notes are spelling. They're forming a chord, and I'd like you to figure out which chord you see here, which chord you see here. Pause the video, analyze these notes. Don't forget your automatic sharps, which might be present. Hint, hint. Pause the video to analyze those chords, then press play and we'll check it out together. All right, let's take a look. We have a D, A, D, F sharp. Don't forget your key signature makes that an F sharp. What is that chord? If we do some inversions, we can see it is a D major second inversion chord. So I'm going to write a capital D up here, which is the chord symbol for D major. And in the key of D major, that is our 1 chord. So I'll also write a Roman numeral 1 there. And then what do we have here? A D, F sharp, A, D. This also is a D major chord. So I'll write a D, Roman numeral 1. That's the tonic chord. That's the fancy music theory name for a 1 chord. So what is CPE Bach doing here? He's just arpeggiating, playing an arpeggio through a D major chord. This is so helpful to learn this faster. By recognizing what the composer is doing, you'll be able to just tell yourself, oh, D major chord with a D on top. By recognizing these patterns and analyzing your score, you're going to be able to learn this faster now. So let's come to the piano keys and start learning. So let's try to play this section that we just analyzed now. We're going to start with a finger 3 on D, and then think of these next 3 notes as a chord. And you might want to practice just by playing it as a group and use the fingers 1, 2, and 4, like it says in the sheet music, and then come up to this next group of 1, 2, 3, and then a 5 on top. Let's practice that one more time. Go back to 3 plays D, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 plays A, D, F sharp. Play it as a block chord, and then move up 1 inversion to 1, 2, 3, and then 5 on top. And those fingerings are important because if you use any other fingering, it will be hard for that 5 to reach the top note. And then if we play it one note at a time, 3, 1, 2, 4. And then when you practice, take a moment to get your mind ready and your fingers ready for this next part, 1, 2, 3, 5. When we play it at full speed, there won't be that pause. But I find when I practice, if I build in some pauses so I can get ready, because you want to stay relaxed as you play. As you're doing these bigger stretches, your fingers are going to extend a little bit, actually flatten a little bit, not totally flat, but the bigger the stretch, the less curved your fingers become. And that's just fine. That's a natural part of playing arpeggios. Pause to practice measures 21 through 22 until you feel confident with it, and then press play to go on. Watch carefully for when the notes are skipping. There's a lot of steps in this melody, but there are also a lot of skips, like right here. What interval between these first 2 notes? You want to analyze those intervals so you can play it correctly. That's the interval of a 4th. Back down a 4th, and then we step up, down a 4th. So watch out for skips. Watch the fingerings carefully. Pause to learn the entire B section, right-hand part, from the pickup to measure 10 all the way to the end, and then press play and we'll check it out together. Now, I'll demonstrate the right-hand part at a slower tempo so you can check and make sure that you learned it correctly. Here we go. I'll count as if I'm in 4/4 time. 1, 2, 3. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2. And notice I switched to a finger 2 there. It might feel more natural to do a 1, but the 2 will prepare you for this reach that's coming up. 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. Now I want to stop here and measure 15. To remind you, it's very important to use your finger 1 to play that C sharp. It's a little awkward to play a black key with a finger 1, but there's really no other good fingering that will keep you from running out of fingers as you step up those next 4 notes. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3. I want to pause to say how important the fingerings are. As we get to intermediate and more advanced music, you cannot play well with a bad fingering. So please, please, please learn these fingerings correctly from the start. 1, 3, 5, then we step down, cross over, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and. Now, if that matched what you played, great job. If there are any places that didn't match what you played, pause to work that out. You want to build good habits from the start. Learning the correct notes, correct rhythms, correct fingerings early on will keep you from making bad habits that will just be harder to break later. Think of this as building a foundation for your own future of being able to play this song really confidently. Now, let's take a look at the left-hand part now. I find that the most challenging section for the left hand is here in measure 17 going into 18. So let's look at this. We start on an A with finger 1, then an immediate octave jump down to low A, back up to A, 1 and 2 and 3 and then here we have 4. Finger 1 has to cross under all the way to D. 4 and then 5 can land on that G. That's a little bit awkward, so I want to just isolate that. When I find a hard section, even if it's just 2 or 3 notes, I'll isolate that and practice that maybe 10 times, maybe even more. So put your finger 3 on this F sharp, let finger 1 cross under to D, and then 5 will play that G. And do it slowly at first. Get that thumb way under. 3, 1, 5. And I want you to Pause the video and do that about 10 times until you could do it in your sleep, quickly and comfortably, but start slow and then gradually increase the speed. Pause to work on just those 3 notes and then press play when you're ready to go on. Now, let's link that to the rest of measure 17. Now we're going to do 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. I'd like you to pause the video and try that maybe 10, maybe 15, maybe 20 times. Repeat it until you feel comfortable with it, then press play to go on. I want to point out here that I didn't stop at the bar line. So often when we see a bar line, we think that's a good place to stop. But it's better to look at those phrase marks. Notice that all of these notes connect into one phrase. And so if I had practiced and stopped right there at the bar line, then I'm going to build in this habit of this break before I get to the last note. But that phrase line shows me all those notes belong together. So it's important to practice across the bar line so your fingers learn to play continuously, all in a beautiful connected phrase. Now, one other place in the left hand that I find a little bit tricky is here in measure 21, the penultimate measure. Penultimate's just a fancy word for second to last. But now you can impress your friends with a fancy word, penultimate. The penultimate measure is right here. And you'll notice in the left hand, we've got a bunch of these repeating notes on D, but a very unique fingering. I added this fingering on purpose, not to torment you, I promise, but it's a way to play this musically and without a lot of tension. You could just hammer that out with your finger 5, but your finger 5, just playing a bunch of fast repeating notes, it's going to add a lot of tension. And it's not going to be as comfortable as if you learned this advanced fingering technique, which we're going to use in more pieces in the future as we get to even faster pieces. Sometimes you need to repeat very quickly on a single note. And again, using just one finger and trying to hammer that out, it's not going to be the best way. So I want you to learn this advanced fingering technique. When you have repeating notes, you can just group 3 fingers really close together. So I'm going to use my fingers 3, 2, and 1, and just kind of bring them close together, all hovering over this D. And then you're just going to alternate fingers, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. And see, if you keep those fingers really close together, hovering over that key, it's just like doing 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, but all over the same key, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Don't make a big deal about it. It shouldn't look super fancy or complicated. Again, just hover over that one key with all 3 of those fingers. Bring your fingers nice and close together. 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Now you try. 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. See how like effortless, kind of, who cares? This is so easy. You don't want it to feel like a big deal. And then as you get more comfortable with it, you can try doing it a little faster. 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Pause the video and just mess around with that. Again, stay really loose and comfortable. Keep those fingers comfortably curved and close to that D, all hovering right there. Practice that for a minute or so and then press play to go on. Now, let's connect that with what comes before and after. We play this D with finger 5 and then a big jump down, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, and then 5 has to land there. That's going to be a little bit tricky. 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 5, 2, 1. And then we have this very common pattern of up a 5th, up a 4th, D, A, D. It's a pattern we see so much in music. 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 5, 2, 1. Now, pause the video to practice starting on this D with finger 5, jump down 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 5, 2, 1. So we're practicing the penultimate and the final measure. Pause to practice that, left hand alone, then press play when you're ready to go on. Now, let's go back and learn the entire B section, just the left hand. So we'll start here in measure 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't forget the automatic sharps. Sometimes we've got legato, but there's a lot of staccato in the left hand. So keep that light and keep your wrist flexible. Think of a little up, up, up on each note the left hand plays. Legato, staccato, 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 da-da-dum, bum, bum. And then when you have a tenuto, you're going to hold that out for full value. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Legato again, staccato, staccato, legato. Rest, 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 rest. Staccato, 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 boom. 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 5, 2, 1. Now, pause. It's your turn to practice the left-hand part, B section, then press play when you're ready to go on. Let's continue with some practice tips. Now that we know the right hand and left hand parts for the B section on your own for the next few days, keep practicing hands alone with counting out loud to make sure you're getting all the rhythms right until you feel confident right hand and left hand alone, and then you're ready to bring it hands together. 4, 1, 2, 3. When you first go hands together, you're going to slow it way down. Make sure you're getting all the fingerings correct and do it in really short sections. Maybe you'll just focus on one measure at a time till you feel confident with that. Then go on to the next measure. Repeat, go on to the next measure, and then link them all together. You can also use the metronome. The metronome is a great tool for finding a nice, slow, steady beat. My metronome's at 66. I remember learning this song when I was a young pianist, and I had to play it very slowly at first and then just gradually increase that metronome until I could play it at full tempo. One section to be especially careful of, hands together, is measure 13. We have 1, 2, and 3. Notice the left hand has some motion there. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Don't forget that you can use the audio track that I provide on my website to premium members, so you can listen and really get this song in your ear. You'll learn it that much faster. Great job getting started with the B section of March in D major by Carl Philipp Emanuel, often abbreviated to CPE Bach. Happy practicing and see you next time.
Hey, here's a riddle for you.
Okay.
What has a lot of keys but can't open any locks?
Think. The answer is literally hitting me right in the face. A piano!
Oh, yep, you got it. Nice job.
Okay, now it's my turn.
Okay,
What do you call a cow that plays the piano?
I don't know.
A musician.